After her breakthrough performance, Rachel Zegler's announcement by Disney as the new Snow White seemed like a dream come true. Fans questioned whether Zegler truly embodied the essence of Snow White, a character so beloved that she represents the foundation of Disney's entire legacy. Zegler was a rising star in West Side Story, a young actress with a powerful voice, undeniable charm, and the perfect combination of innocence and strength for Disney. This was their golden ticket, a chance to reintroduce one of their most iconic characters to a modern audience while proving that they could balance tradition with bold new storytelling. However, things didn't go as smoothly as they had hoped. Online rumors of doubt started to circulate almost immediately. Her talent wasn't the issue. No, for many, this went deeper. Snow White is more than a fictional character. She is a representation of timeless beauty, innocence, and nostalgia. Did Zegler accompany her? The stakes were high because this was not just another live-action remake, this was Snow White, the story that began it all, and if Zegler was successful, she would cement her status as a Hollywood icon. Fresh Midi was the ideal choice to bear that weight, but Disney doubled down by promoting Zegler as the ideal blend of the old and the new, a Snow White for the 21st century. Cassin, Zegler, and Rodale helped promote Zegler's star in The Fiery Path in Arizona, where Jauane Zegler was the host for the show. When the interview began, things started to go wrong because Rachel Zegler did something no Disney princess had ever done before. If she didn't succeed, she would not only disappoint the fans, but also possibly jeopardize Disney's entire live-action strategy. What did she say that ignited the internet? She criticized the original. In one of her earliest interviews, Rachel Zegler shocked fans by declaring that the original Snow White was out of date and didn't resonate with modern audiences. She saw this remake as a chance to reinvent the story for a new generation, and she didn't stop there. Stay tuned because this is where the drama really starts. When Rachel Zegler took the stage to discuss her role as Snow White, she didn't hold back from making bold statements, but instead of relying on the magic and nostalgia of the original 1937 classic, she adopted a different approach, and it left fans in awe. Zegler continued by criticizing Snow White as a character, claiming that she is not waiting for a prince and is passive and even problematic. While some praised Zegler for adopting a feminist viewpoint, others viewed it as an unnecessary divergence from what, after all, made the original so remarkable. Zegler boldly declared that she is not dreaming of true love. This is a Snow White who controls her own destiny. For many, Snow White was about kindness, innocence, and finding joy even in the most difficult circumstances. It wasn't just about the romance. Fans immediately erupted on social media, accusing Zegler of disrespecting a treasured aspect of cinematic history. Even some Disney fans, who are usually quick to defend the studio, felt uneasy, but Zegler didn't back down and instead she doubled down. Why remake Snow White? If you're going to disparage the original tweet, read another that said, "This isn't empowerment, it's rewriting history." She felt that the changes were necessary and emphasized that the new Snow White would represent the values of today's audience. However, as the controversy raged, her remarks only served to widen the gulf among many fans, raising yet another question. Insiders have revealed that Snow White's production was anything but smooth, from multiple script rewrites to a ballooning budget that eventually soared to $290 million. It was evident that Disney's ambitious vision was fraught with problems. Initially, the studio brought in director Mark Webb, known for The Amazing Spider-Man, and paired him with writer Greta. Why wasn't Disney stepping in? What was happening behind the scenes of this $290 million gamble? Things were about to get messy as the internet debated Rachel Zegler's comments on the drama brewing. After Gerwig's success with Barbie, this pair appeared to be unstoppable on paper, a perfect blend of blockbuster expertise and clever modern storytelling. But as production went on, flaws appeared in early drafts of the script, which reportedly stayed true to the original fairy tales. However, as the number of rewrites increased, the story became more and more detached from its origins, and what had seemed like a respectful update started to feel to some like a brand new film. Then came the 3 full rounds of reshoots, and these weren't just minor touch-ups. The entire third act of the film was overhauled. According to insiders, the delay in production added millions to the budget and sent a message to fans that the studio might not have complete faith in its own creation. But why was Disney willing to invest so much more money into a project that was already enmeshed by controversy? The answer was straightforward: they couldn't afford to fail. When Disney announced its live-action Snow White, they didn't hold back on the hype, but the initial marketing plans were grandiose. Snow White wasn't just a remake, it was a cornerstone of the studio's live-action empire. As the studio rushed to save the movie, another mystery surfaced. Why had their massive marketing campaign suddenly gone silent? These silence only fueled more questions and suspicions. This was supposed to be a celebration of Disney's legacy, with rumors of a trailer debuting in Times Square, special TV appearances, and even a special performance at the Oscars. $90 million production created to appeal to a contemporary audience while recapturing the magic of the original, but the trailer, which was supposedly completed months earlier, was quietly postponed, and promotional events were mysteriously canceled one by one. Fans noticed that even the studio's typically aggressive social media campaigns had been toned down, and they began asking why the company had suddenly become so silent about one of its most expensive films ever. Rumors began to circulate that Disney was reconsidering its approach after early audience reactions to test screenings revealed conflicting results. Others conjectured that the controversy surrounding Rachel Zegler's interviews had alarmed Disney, but the significant story changes left many feeling disengaged for a film that required widespread appeal to succeed. The production design and visual effects were reportedly praised. Fans weren't the only ones who reacted negatively. Some media outlets also started criticizing the studio for eschewing the timeless charm of the originals in favor of contemporary messaging, which was seen as Disney's retreat. To evade more investigation, or did this portend more serious issues? Disney's hesitancy raised an even bigger question. Was the movie ready, or was it still being frantically reworked? Then came the bombshell. Fans started to fill in the blanks with their own theories, many of which weren't flattering, and the silence only made matters worse. This was more than just a Snow White remake. Although it was a total change, how much was too much? Keep an eye out. When fans eventually saw Disney's Snow White remake for the first time, it became evident that this wasn't just a reimagining, but a complete story overhaul. The characters' backstories and the visuals had been completely redesigned, but many felt that these changes were a betrayal rather than a welcome update. One of the most talked about changes was that Snow White's name was now associated with a blizzard she survived rather than her fair complexion, as in the original Grimm Brothers fairy tale and Disney's 1937 classic. It was a daring move to modernize the story for children, but for fans, it was just another way the remake broke with the past. The seven dwarves were swapped out for a diverse cast of magical friends, and Snow White herself was positioned as a warrior fighting for the future of her kingdom rather than dreaming of true love or waiting for her prince to save her. While some fans applauded the progressive approach, others felt it was too much of a departure, depriving the character of the kindness and innocence that made her so adored. Even the visuals generated controversy. The original's whimsical storybook aesthetic was replaced with darker, grittier tones, making the film feel more like a fantasy epic than a fairy tale. The stakes were higher than ever, and the answer lay in the hands of the fans, but their voices were anything but united. The question of whether the film's departure from tradition would connect with enough viewers to justify its $219 million budget loomed as these drastic changes split audiences. What was going on in the world? The internet's opinion on this Snow White was next, and it wasn't pretty. Shortly after Disney revealed their Snow White vision, the internet went crazy, with fans, critics, and casual viewers all offering their opinions on the significant alterations to the well-loved classic. Social media turned into a battlefield. The responses weren't just split, they were divisive. A supporter wrote on Twitter that the reimagined Snow White was a step forward, a princess who was defined by her strength and determination rather than her search for love. Other fans praised the film's bold storytelling choices and diverse casting, calling it a necessary evolution for a new generation. However, there seemed to be a louder chorus of outrage for every voice of support. Fans claimed that Disney had abandoned the essence of the original Snow White, trading its timeless charm for an overly modernized plot. This isn't Snow White 1, which went viral, but rather just another generic fantasy film with a well-known title. Subsequently, social media users began making fun of the film's tone and artistic choices. Hashtags such as Not My Snow White and Disney Woke Backlash became popular, which fueled the firestorm. Critics claim that the film's changes were not about modernization, but rather about alienating longtime fans in favor of buzzwords and box checking, even echoing the divide in early test screenings. The question remained, would the controversy spark enough interest to drive ticket sales, or would it spell disaster for the film? Disney wasn't just taking a chance with Snow White. While some viewers praised the production design and performances, others referred to the film as soulless and a shadow of the original. This feedback reportedly left Disney scrambling to make last-minute changes, leading to the reshoot that further increased the budget. With stakes this high and its whole live-action strategy, it was gambling. The figures didn't appear encouraging. What was necessary for Snow White to be financially successful? The image wasn't attractive, and that's what Disney will be talking about next. Every decision is well thought out and every project requires investment, but the stakes for Snow White are much higher. With a production budget of $290 million, it's one of the priciest live-action movies Disney has ever made, and the pressure to perform is enormous. When Disney launched The Frozen 2 years ago, no one could ever give the unclear on-screen direction about what the film would end up being. The worst part is that experts predict the film will need to make at least $700 million worldwide just to break even. Consider that, not to turn a profit, just to cover its costs. That's a high bar even for Disney, especially in a post-pandemic world where theater attendance is unpredictable and streaming has changed how audiences consume content. For example, recent Disney live-action remakes like Beauty and the Beast and The Lion King, which heavily relied on nostalgia, don't have the same safety net, and it's not just about the box office. Disney has spent millions on marketing, reshoots, and post-production, and on top of the controversy surrounding the movie. Every backlash, meme, and mixed review threatens the delicate balance Disney needs to make this film a success for a company already dealing with difficulties. A litmus test for the future of Disney's live-action division, Snow White is more than just another remake, given its underwhelming box office results and financial strain from its streaming endeavors. Will audiences turn out, or has the backlash already caused irreversible harm? As the controversy surrounding Snow White's reinvention continues, the real question is, where does Disney go from here? The answer will depend on whether fans can accept this reimagined Snow White, or if the movie is perceived as just another instance of Disney losing touch with its audience. What impact will this have on their legacy, as well as their future? Next, let's examine that. Disney, once the leader in family-friendly content, is now walking a tightrope trying to appeal to modern audiences while preserving the magic that built its empire. With Snow White, that balancing act has become more precarious for decades. The Snow White controversy is about more than just one movie. It's a reflection of Disney's larger struggle to find its footing in a rapidly changing entertainment landscape. The live-action remakes were more than just films. They were cultural icons, were created to pay tribute to those classics and introduce them to a younger audience. However, many fans believe that Disney has deviated too much from its origins with Snow White. The audience is wondering if Disney has lost its magic at the same time because of the drastic changes made to the plot, the controversy surrounding Rachel Zegler's remarks, and the studio's apparent lack of faith in the project. Netflix and other streaming behemoths are fierce rivals of Disney. Box office results are no longer a guarantee of success for Amazon or even its own platform, Disney+. And if Snow White fails, the stakes are higher for every mistake. Whether Snow White succeeds or fails, one thing is certain: the discussion surrounding it will shape the future of Disney's storytelling. So, do you think Disney's boldness has gone too far, or is this just the evolution? It could signal trouble for the studio's live-action strategy and force Disney to rethink how it approaches its most beloved stories. But here's the thing, Disney has always found a way to reinvent itself. From the so-called Disney Dark Ages of the 1980s to the rise of Pixar. For more in-depth analyses of Hollywood's most significant stories, please leave your thoughts in the comment section below, and remember to like and subscribe. With a studio as legendary as Disney, one can be certain that this story is far from over.